Have you ever seen somebody do something really dangerous or stupid and wondered what on earth that person was thinking? Of course you have. Humans may be the most advanced species on Earth, but there are still more than a few among us who aren't that bright. Fueled by anger, frustration, impatience, or just stupidity, as you'll see, the decisions these following people made can't be described as anything but idiotic. Family jewels. What would you do if you won the lottery? Invest? Buy a big house? A fleet of new cars? According to various reports floating around, one Canadian lottery winner went a little bit more extreme. Clearly demonstrating he had more money than brain cells, Alberta's Justin Ryder supposedly had his testicles gold-plated, an act that resulted in him dying. Okay, so the story is widely believed to be a hoax, but in this day and age, would you really put it past someone, somewhere, to try this? Overly impatient. We all can get a little impatient sometimes, but one South Korean man took things to a whole new idiot level when he missed the elevator one day. Known only as Mr. Lee, the man was captured by CCTV cameras outside an elevator in a shopping mall. Having just missed his ride, Mr. Lee clearly lost his temper and began ramming his motorized chair into the doors. Unfortunately, the door gave way after a few rammings and Mr. Lee plummeted to his death down the elevator shaft. Out with a bang. We all know gasoline is highly flammable. Well, all of us except for Gary Banning. You see, Banning was over at a friend's house in 2012 when he mistook a jar full of gasoline for a drink. Realizing his mistake, he spit out the gas. The worst part is, that's not the idiotic part. Relieved by this close call, Banning proceeded to light up a cigarette even though he still had gasoline all over his shirt. As you can imagine, the results were not pretty as he burned to death. Russian roulette. Russian roulette is a game involving a gun, a single bullet, and people who are willing to potentially die. However, to play this game may deem idiotic to begin with, you must have a revolver. Any other gun removes the element of chance and just makes the game 100% suicidal. Trezell Spencer clearly overlooked this part when he brought his semi-automatic gun to reportedly take part in the risky game with others. Amazingly, no one died, but Spencer's reward for his idiotic decision is some jail time. Don't drink and tattoo. Alcohol and drugs have a tendency to make dumb people do idiotic things. One Reddit user posted some pictures of his friends who got high and drunk one night and decided to indulge in a little tattoo work. The artists opted to ink themselves with a Charmander, a Pokemon creature. The results were comical to say the least. Rather than the orange and round Charmander, the idiotic decision to give a self-tattoo resulted in a permanent and rather sickly-looking black creature that looks like it was drawn by a 4-year-old. Or, someone who was drunk and high. Bungee bungle. In 1997, police in Virginia found the body of a man who had died in a bungee accident. 22-year-old Eric Barcia made the idiotic decision to go bungee jumping alone. He knew the bridge he planned to jump off of was 70 feet tall, so he measured out the bungee cord accordingly, or so he thought. You see, Eric thought that he was on the ball by ensuring that the bungee cord was under 70 feet long. Unfortunately, bungee cord stretches a lot, and in Eric's case, clearly more than 70 feet. Airplane humor. There's a time and a place for everything. For instance, we all know you shouldn't talk about bombs or yell out "bomb" on an airplane. You should also be a little bit aware of the world situation and take that into account when you decide to play a joke. In 2014, an unnamed 54-year-old passenger on a flight between Philadelphia and the Dominican Republic yelled out that he had Ebola. As you can imagine, it didn't go over well. Officials in hazmat suits greeted the plane and escorted the man, described by one of the stewardesses as an idiot, off to be questioned. Location. For David Zabak, robbing a Washington gun store turned out to be a big idiotic decision. The day he walked in armed and announced a robbery couldn't have been worse timing. You see, gun stores are often full of customers and employees who have guns. In this case, a police officer was also in the store, and officials can't figure out how Zabak missed the marked cruiser right at the front door. Needless to say, the robbery was short and unsuccessful as Zabak went down under a hail of bullets. Bananas. What are your plans for the money you have saved away? Possibly an emergency fund, real estate, or maybe some form of stock investment? Not Henry Gibbon, who blew $2,600 on a carnival game. Yep, desperate to win an Xbox Connect, Gibbon threw away his money playing one of those games you can never really win at. By the end of the day, his money was gone, and all he had to show for it was a giant stuffed banana with dreadlocks. Seems like an appropriate prize for such an idiotic decision. The bare necessities. Most of us know that animals in cages are there for a reason. Most of us also know that certain animals in cages can be dangerous and you shouldn't try to touch them. Basic common sense failed one Russian man who was recorded as he reached in to pet a bear. Yes, a bear in a cage. Even with his friends screaming not to reach into the cage, he still did it. We wonder if this man realized how idiotic his decision was before or after the bear ripped his hand off. Thanks for watching, guys. We hope you enjoyed this totally idiotic video of idiots. Hooray! You want to know some things that aren't super idiotic? Clicking on these videos because you know you want to. Also, to click like and subscribe. Thanks.